Welcome to Annexed Dinner Table Reviews. I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be looking at Harry Potter House Cup competition. It's a little bit of a mouthful. It is a new worker placement game where you are going to be playing as a Harry Potter house, and you have 3 workers that you will place during your turn at one of the locations, and depending on where you place them, you get either books, magic hat tokens, or lessons or challenge cards. And then you gain your new resources or lessons or challenges, and then you can play a lesson card, which will get you something. So they all are, there's quite a few different ones. There are a couple duplicates, but there's many unique ones, and they're just going to help bump you up a little bit. And as you play on your board, you'll be sliding up the tracks on the potions, charms, and defense against the dark arts to try to defeat the challenges that you collect. And at the end of each round, you're able to defeat 2 challenges if you can. And those are where you're going to get your points for the most part. They're little jewels that go into your nice little Hogwarts tracker. And then at the end of the game, whoever has the most points ends up winning. That's about it. This one's fun. It's very lightweight. I would definitely say that this is an intro to worker placement with a nice Harry Potter theme thrown on it.
Yeah, I definitely think this is, one of those gateway style games that has a nice IP attached to it that'll get non-hobbyists into the hobby a little bit. This is very introductory so Harry Potter fans will be into this, and friends who are into the gaming hobby can use that as a, hey, we have something in common.
Yeah. I like the different places that you can add. So you get one level, and then two levels, and a 3rd level that get added to places you can go as the game continues, which I thought was super cool, and that just adds some replayability and some new locations each time, so it's not always the same, especially if you are using it to try to get your friends into it. They're going to be able to use a lot more of the base things, and you can still have some strategy involved with those other cards.
Well, the other thing is, as you unlock the different locations, your strategy will have to adapt, because you might be leaning heavily on classrooms or professors' offices or the library, and you know exactly what you're doing, but as soon as you hit those even rounds and you unlock a new location, there's a new thing and a new location that might strategically be better for you.
Yeah, so super fun. I will say the lessons are nice because you can play one every single round, but sometimes they're a little hard. You get a huge collection and you're just like, I can't do anything with these. None of them are good, and so you sometimes need to switch them up. And you can, and there is a mechanic for it, but it's just how often do you want to be using that mechanic instead of one of the other things.
Yeah,
so.
And with you being able to play one with each character that's played, you can there is strategically the ability to just use the rooms as a way to get those resources and increase your standing, but there is a strategy to just going after cards and using those to really elevate your gameplay also. But it is, like you said, sometimes a crapshoot if you're not going for the classrooms where you can level up your characters to really handle those challenges. Then you kind of can be left with cards that you can't handle.
Yeah. And then the challenges were also pretty unique, I thought, because normally with worker placement, you're gaining victory points by going to locations, getting certain resources, unlocking cards on a turn. So you go to the location and you buy the card. And that's going to get you victory points. Where at the end of every round here, everyone gets to do up to 2 challenges. Which was nice because you're not wasting a person to go there, especially since you only have 3 workers. And so it's very, you can't do everything that you want to as usual. I will say the limit of 2 is sometimes very frustrating because you'll also be gaining challenge cards sometimes way quicker than you can play them. Where, you know, one turn you gain 4 challenge cards and you're just like, well, I guess I can only play 2 of these. Which are the best 2 for now? Which ones am I saving? Can I do all of them? So that's sometimes a little frustrating because you're like, why can't I just do all of them? And you can't.
Well, and there's also the level of you have to distribute your students onto those cards. So they can only do one student can only do 1 challenge, so you can't really divvy them up. So doing more than 2 is kind of hard anyway, but it does give you a nice variety and combats that idea of I don't know what to play, I can't play this. I will say it's hard in the early game, in the first round or so, to get some of those challenge cards, especially if they're dealt out a little higher than you anticipate. So doing some of those challenges early in the first round or second round is kind of hard sometimes. So that's kind of a stipulation there. But what I do like about the lessons and challenge cards is they're very thematic and they fit well within the Harry Potter IP. So what they actually have text on them on what they do. So if, like, for example, read the tale of the 3 brothers or study for the newts, or so these challenges and lesson cards are very well ingrained in the theme and within the IP.
Yes, that's very true. And you're totally right. You can only put up to minimum 1 player, 1 of your workers per challenge card. So early round, it is sometimes you're just like, an easy challenge, it's going to give me 20 points. And it's taking all 3 of my workers. So that can also be a little disheartening. But in the end, as you get further along in all of your tracks, they get a lot easier for the most part. Oh, I only need to put 1 worker on this challenge, which lets me do some of those more difficult challenge cards, which is really nice because they're going to get you just more points and maybe an additional level up in something to just help boost you a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
I thought that the art was also lacking a little bit. It's just a little flat to me. There's kind of just basic. There's not much to it. And I thought that was a little disappointing because of the theme. I think you could have taken a little bit more art and went with it a little bit more with the IP.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a rich IP, and there's so much that you lean on there that having such a simplistic game, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little unfortunate. I will say some of the art where the art really does shine through is on the location cards. Those are the ones that actually have some of those locations and things like that are actually from the movies and the books. But for the most part, the lesson cards, the challenge cards, and most of the boards are fairly flat.
Yeah. It was overall, I think, super easy to play. So I think age range, we're looking pretty young. I would say like 9, 10 and up.
Yeah. I think you can get in easily at a 9-year-old to play this game. I would say it's probably you're looking at like an 11 to 12 to maybe compete and win and strategically get to a level. But I think you could easily get this, especially with such an approachable IP and something that, you know, is, especially with the early movies and books are targeted towards the younger audience. They're going to want to jump in and play this game.
Yeah. I think that the little tracker with the chips in here was really cool. It's very thematic. I think that it's mainly there for thematic reasons, and sometimes they can get they're a little hard to drop in here for just because the opening's not very large.
Yeah, when you get into the late game and you start getting like, oh, you get to put 50 points, which is 5 of the gems in there, and you're like 1, 2. It's a very narrow mouth to be dropping those gems in.
Yeah, but overall, I thought that it was really cool, and I thought that it was an interesting way to know where everyone else is at, because you can see that, oh, it feels like, Devin and I are really close. I need to be doing X to try to bump me up. Or he could think the opposite. Oh, I'm doing so much better. I'm going to win. And it's just, you don't know for certain, because it's not like 1, 2, 3, but you have that feeling of where you are compared to the other players.
Yeah, and it's really nice that you don't have to actually like actively pay attention to what cards everyone's playing. It's like, oh, I saw her play, and adding up everything and keeping everyone's score in your head. You can just glance at this and go, I'm not doing so great. So I think that's really nice.
Yeah. And I thought that was unique. A lot of games you have hidden points, and I thought that this was really nice for that introductory type game, to not have hidden points, but not have to be like sitting there counting at like, how many do you have? Oh, it just was super simple, nice, fun.
Yeah.
So overall, this one was super fun for a nice introductory worker placement with a nice IP.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for watching.